This video will contain spoilers for Assassin's Creed Shadows. If you've been keeping up with the news leading up to Shadows' release, you've likely seen this image. Hattori Hanzo, as depicted in the AC Memories card game back in 2014. Developed exclusively for iOS, Memories was a soft RPG that explored various periods from the franchise, even branching into brand new settings, including Japan's Sengoku period, through the eyes of Hattori Hanzo. Despite being a mobile card game, AC Memories introduced a surprising amount of lore. In fact, Hanzo's story was fully fleshed out, detailing his journey from joining the Brotherhood to his eventual death, taking heavy inspiration from his real-life counterpart. Yes, Hattori Hanzo was a real historical figure, the son of a samurai and a member of a ninja clan, serving under Oda Nobunaga. He carried out numerous nighttime raids, and after Nobunaga's death, he fled to the province of Iga, where he continued to fight as a general for Tokugawa. AC Memories took some creative liberties with Hanzo's story, establishing that he joined the assassins long before aligning with Nobunaga. His card designs showcased his transformation from a ninja clan member to a full-fledged assassin. This all occurred long before his appearance in AC Shadows. During this time, he even recovered a Sword of Eden from the Japanese Templars, and yes, before AC Shadows introduced its numerous retcons, the origins of the Japanese Brotherhood were already well established. Xiaoyun's apprentice, Kotetsu, was documented as travelling to Japan to establish the Brotherhood there, about 50 years before the events of Shadows. However, this lore has now been fundamentally altered, and Hanzo's story has seemingly been rewritten. This brings us to AC Shadows, a full, mainline title set during the same period as AC Memories, but with a vastly different take on historical events, one that contradicts much of the existing lore, and frankly, not for the better. Firstly, the Brotherhood's origins are now tied to a new Spanish assassin who broke the tenets of the creed and fled to Japan. There he recruited Naoya's mother, Tsuya, and formed the Kakishiba Iki, an offshoot of the Assassin Brotherhood. An ongoing manga, Tales of Iga, is currently releasing monthly and details Tsuya and Hanzo's adventures before the events of Shadows, which may help fill in some gaps. And I say fill in the gaps because despite Hanzo's deep involvement in Nobunaga's story in real life and in AC Memories, he isn't featured in Shadows until late into the second act. Not only that, but he looks drastically different from his previous depictions. Lore-wise, this change isn't entirely drastic, as Hanzo's assassin robes in prior appearances were from his earlier days, before Nobunaga's death, with the Kakishiba Iki being wiped out in this new version of events, which makes sense that he would no longer wear his assassin attire. However, the problems begin with how little attention Hanzo's legacy receives in Shadows. In the Art of AC Shadows book, there is very little information on Hanzo or why his design is so different. The only explanation is that the team wanted to emphasize his ninja aesthetic rather than his samurai roots. But let's be honest, this is a major misstep. Hanzo's iconography in the franchise was his sick assassin robes. You didn't even need to know anything about his character to see how cool this design was. In an attempt to be more realistic, the result in Shadows is a duller, less memorable outfit that ignores his established past entirely. This also ties into Naoya's storyline in Shadows. The game follows her gradual discovery of the Brotherhood and the meaning behind the hidden blade. However, Hanzo is the one who ultimately pushes her to look deeper into it, making Naoya seem more passive in her own narrative. Naoya's village is burned down early in the game, and her father tasks her with recovering a secret box hidden behind an assassin's seal. This becomes her driving motivation. It's only when she receives this box from the final Shimbakufu that Hanzo reappears, revealing the truth behind the attack. And this is where his character assassination begins. From what we know, both from real historical events and AC Memories, Hanzo's defining trait was loyalty. He served Nobunaga up until the end, which strangely isn't depicted in the game and may have even been retconned, and after fleeing to Iga, he spent the rest of his life defending his homeland, but Shadows rewrites this entirely. Here, Hanzo himself admits that he betrayed the Japanese Brotherhood. He sold out his friends, leading to the thousands of deaths at Nobunaga's hands. And why? Because he fell in love with Naoya's mother. That's right, they turned Hattori Hanzo into a simp, a cuck, a man willing to betray his closest allies of 25 plus years because he couldn't get a woman's attention. And what does he do after realising this mistake? He abandons Iga, becomes a mercenary, because this franchise loves turning their mentors into mercenaries, and years later, he still isn't over it. His lingering obsession with Tsuyu ultimately leads him to betray the Brotherhood upon realising that she has given birth to Naoya. And the worst part, the canon ending is to forgive him for all of this. After a boss fight where we beat down Hanzo, he reveals that Naoya's mother might still be alive, forcing a contrived excuse for a team-up. The writing twists itself into knots to reach this outcome. Not only does it assassinate Hanzo's character, turning him into an incel, but it also sets up a DLC plot about finding Tsuyu that feels entirely forced. Why take the only known assassin in this era and reduce him to such a weak character? Is this a jab at the fanbase? Hanzo should have had a full, engaging storyline, or at least have played a major role in guiding Naoya. Even a set of side quests would have sufficed, but it feels like the writers actively avoided including the assassins until it was absolutely necessary. Strangely, while the Templar presence in this game is handled well, complete with recognisable iconography, the assassins are barely acknowledged. Even in Valhalla, which was set before the Brotherhood was fully established, we still had abandoned bureaus, Hytham and Bazum's hooded hidden ones, and discussions about the creed. In contrast, Shadows treats the assassins like an afterthought. It's hard to tell if this was an attempt to make the assassins more mysterious, or if the writers were deliberately minimising their presence. Either way, it's just frustrating. Hanzo's depiction in Shadows isn't just a weak reimagining of his character, it reflects a broader issue with how the game handles assassins as a whole. I'd love to hear from the writers about any restrictions they faced, because the way this game unfolds in its final hours screams compromise. It feels like they wanted to deliver what fans expected, but were pressured into making this a shinobi game instead of what it should have been, a story about the assassins. Was this the writers trying to make the assassins more mysterious, or straight up hide their involvement? It's just suspicious how little we get of the assassins outside of Naoya's robes. At least on the Templar side, we get multiple Templar targets that all fit the bill, with the red cross on display and the Portuguese outfits giving some distant nod to how the Templars looked in AC2, so you still get that recognition. That went a long way to making the conclusion of Yasuke's story more engaged in the broader narrative, and yet the assassins are given nothing of the sort. The deepest cut I could find was in one of the tombs. If you go into photo mode, you can find one of the two-pronged hidden blades from the movie and Origins on one of the corpses. There's also a glaring issue with the assassins' designs in this game. Hattori Hanzo was nicknamed the Demon, hence his demonic face mask in AC Memories, but not even that was carried across, and his ninja aesthetic doesn't really get conveyed here. It just looks like a generic warrior, which is a rare misstep for the character designs in this game. Look at the assassin that saves Yasuke on the ship. Where's the iconography? The beaked hood, the waist sash, the white colour scheme. It's in this game, so they knew what to do, they just chose not to. Then we have Naoya's mother, also depicted in the game in a generic ninja outfit instead of proper Brotherhood robes. But remember that Tales of Iga manga that I mentioned earlier? You want to see how she looks in that? Yep. The perfect, badass looking traditional white and red robes, the beaked hood and an awesome looking design. See, it wasn't that difficult. I bet money that when we see Naoya's mother again in the claws of Awaji, she will be wearing the same generic ninja outfit and not her assassin robes. This has to have been an intentional choice. The unfortunate follow-up to this as well is screen time. Hanzo is barely in the game, with very little interaction outside of exposition to Naoya, which underserves his character, and with the story of AC Shadows ending on a cliffhanger with the promise of a resolution in the future, there's still hope that the assassins can get a faithful adaptation and that Hanzo can be redeemed. But is it too little too late? Along with the retconned origins of the Brotherhood in Japan to make them seem less established and have a diminished presence in the game, this seems awfully suspicious. But what do you think about Hattori Hanzo and to a greater extent the assassin's presence in AC Shadows? Let me know down below. If you like this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribe for more Assassin's Creed content. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.